Alright, what's up everybody? So for today's video that I'm putting together, I did a little rehearsal on it to try and have something a little more planned and figured out. I'm going to be showing you a couple more tools through the process of messing with the roof and walls again. I realized that I am going to go back to the gable roof because in doing so it allows me to show you a bunch more stuff, and there's a few things I can dive into that you can use for what we're doing today, but apply to a lot of other things. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to go to a 3D view, go back to refresh. We have the basic building here. We're going to click on the roof, go back to an edit footprint, select one wall, hold control if you forget, so you can select multiple things. Uncheck our define slope on all of them, and check mark. So first thing, attaching the wall to the roof. Last time I showed you editing the profile. It's one way to do it, probably not as useful with something simple like this, but when you're dealing with something more tricky, definitely useful. And I think we're going to use the edit profile tool again later. But for now, another way, and the better way here, you're going to click on your wall, and up at the top here in your modifier where your edit profile is, there's attach top/base. We're going to want to do it to all of the walls to attach them all. And so you can also see, like right here inside, or if you're inside the building, there looks like there's that gap. It's going to get rid of all of that. So to pick all the walls, you can highlight one, tab key, select them. We're going to click our attach, click the roof, and now they are all attached to the roof. Now, one thing to note, whenever you attach stuff, if you go to change whatever is attached, it's not going to change unless you detach it. So what I'm talking about here, like if I take this wall and I want to drop it down 5 feet. So I do a -5 on my top offset, apply. It didn't do anything. That's because it's still attached to my roof. So if I were to click on it, detach, now it's done it. Just so you know. So we're going to undo that, make sure offset is gone. All right. So first thing I want to show you with the roof is creating an overhang. So you can attach things like fascia, gutter, and build in a soffit. So to do that, we're going to highlight the wall or the roof, edit our footprint, tab to select all of them, and up here at the top on our overhang, we're just going to put a 1 for 1 foot, enter. You can see it bumped our lines out a little bit, hit check, and now we've got our overhang that you can see there. So next thing we're going to do, we need a section view to help us out here a little bit. So I'll show you how to make a section view. And right now, since there's nothing distinct about our building to easily identify which wall is which as far as a roof coming down or going up, one thing you can do when you're trying to figure something out across views, I can click on this wall. I want to use this one. Go back to level 1, and there you go. You can see that's the one that I have highlighted. So we're going to use this wall. So to make a section cut, up here at the top should already be pinned, or you can go to your view tab, and it's right there. Section. We're just going to click, drag it over, and click. And you can see here, once you've made it, you've got your little dashed lines. That's what you're actually viewing. I want to make sure I can see the back wall, so we're going to go ahead and go cut into it. And then to go to my view, I can either scroll down right here, section, and it's there, or double click. There you go. We're going to get our settings changed there. So now we can see. And if you want to make it wider, you can always go back to your plan view. Use these arrows here to drag that way, just like I did for that. Or when you're in the view, you can just click on the outside to open, or click on your view basically, and do that. We don't need it really big, so we're just going to go with this right here. So first things first, there's a couple of things you can do with your roof profile. So if I click on the roof here, I can scroll down, and right here I can see the rafter cut. I can change it if I want it to look like that instead, but we're just going to stick with how it is for now. But that's just one thing you can do if you want to change the profile of your roof edge a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is fascia. I'm going to go back to my 3D. It's going to be the easiest way to do it. Go to architecture, roof drop down, and fascia. All you have to do for it is select the edge you want. You can see it highlights the top and bottom. If you click the bottom, it's going to come down we want it to hide the edges. Up on this, make sure you get all sides here. And let's say I missed one, so I escape out, I go to do something else, realize I missed it. I can always go back to my fascia, click it, add segment, click there, and add it. Escape key to get out of that tool. So now you can see we have our fascia all the way around. Next thing we're going to do is our soffit, which for a gable roof is a bit tricky, and there's some workarounds to make it look right, but it's not technically right. But for the sake of appearances with Revit and rendering, you can make it look right. So that's going to be the process I'm going to show you, which in doing so, we're going to open up a couple other things. So first, for my soffit, let's go to level 2, which is where the roof is drawn on. You can see it's cut off because of our rage. Ignore that, doesn't really matter. We do need to go here and change it to wireframe so that we can see the walls underneath. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to roof drop down, soffit. So the way it works, real quick, I can select, I have it on pick walls right now. I can pick this wall, and what I need to do is bring this line here to the end, do the same thing on the other side so it's flush. And then the next thing I can do, I can pick roof edges. If this were non-gable, so all the roof edges came down, this would be the way to do it. You just pick all your outside walls, pick your roof edge, and it's going to do all of it. And that creates your little path to where it's going to create it within the two lines. If I were to just pick roof edges, it's going to create this whole thing like I made a ceiling or a floor. That's why you have to create your lines on the outside walls for where it starts and the roof edge. You can see it picked the inside of the fascia to where it's ending. But because we have the gable, I can show you here real quick actually. If I go ahead and do all of them, click my check mark, and you can see we have a problem there. That does not work. And you can also see it's created it at level 2 and we don't want it there. So first, what I'm going to do, I can try and go here to my section cut, and I can see that. And so the easiest thing, if you want to bring it down, I can, while I have it highlighted, I can just hit the down arrow key and start bringing it down if I want to do that. Or another tool here that's really helpful for a lot of things, not just this, is align dimension. So while you have something clicked or selected, or if it's not, you can always just go to your modify tab. Align dimension is this guy right here, align. And so what this does is it helps you to line things up without you having to click and drag or do anything like that. So what I want to do, I want this to be flat with this right here to be flush. So what you need to do is first click the line that you're trying to get the other item to, and you can see it's created my line there. And then next I want this. You can see it drags it down to where they're flush. If I were to have clicked this first and then this, it would have dragged the fascia up to it. And we don't want that. And so the next thing I want to do here, you can see it's got this soffit generically pretty thick. We don't really want that because it's cutting into the roof and there's no reason for it. So this is going to be a first thing that you can use this in many places, not just this. We're going to click our edit type. You can see it brings up a whole lot of information here, or what looks like a lot of information. Depending on what you're editing, there might be a lot more filled in here. There might be more options. For this, you can see it's just a generic. You can see there's not any more options in here, and we want it to be thin. So one thing, whenever you're editing something, let's make this a little smaller here, is the structure. You can see right there, I can edit my structure here, and this is where you can see what something is made of. You can use this on a floor, you can use it on walls, you can use it on the roof, and as you can see here, even soffit. And so we'll mess with it a little bit later to show you materials for the wall, but for now, we're going to adjust this to the right size that we need. And you can see here it's set up as the structure. You can pick a material if you want to. and you have all these preset materials here. You could also make new ones, a whole bunch of stuff later will be looked at. Right now, I just want to make this thin. I'm going to go with 1-inch inner and see what that does to it. Apply, okay. So you can see it's almost not cutting into that. So we're going to go back to it, edit type, edit again. And something else that's really handy here whenever you're messing with something with multiple layers, like our exterior walls, if we were, your preview button here, it lets you see everything. As you can see here, you can't really tell. I'll open the wall real quick just to show you. But for the sake of this, we're going to try 3/4 of an inch. Enter. Click OK. Close the preview so I can see. Hit apply. OK. There we go. That is much better. So real quick, what I was talking about. So if I go to my wall, edit type, edit my structure, hit my preview button, you can see that I can see everything. And so right now, brick is what I'm working on. Brick is selected. You have an air pocket, insulation, a membrane layer. It has no thickness, so that's why you don't see anything highlighted. And then you've got your CMUs, metal furring, and a wallboard. So that's all kinds of stuff that you can mess with. We don't need anything right now, just to show you. So back to our 3D. So we have this, it's looking right, but again, this is wrong. So the workaround for this, we're going to go back to it. I need to see it in 3D and find it in level 2. So you can't, obviously you can't see it because all of its lines are overlapping, but you can see I still have it selected. I can hit edit boundary here. So first, the 2 gable ends, we need to delete both of those. And next, we want to flatten it off at the edges of these walls. So I'm going to do that. Here, I can click and drag this back, or another quick tool and modify, trim extend to make a corner. I can click the 2 ones I want, and you can see it trims it for me. Escape. So we're going to do that down here. Trim extend. Boom. And let's get this one. Delete that line. Trim. Take away that half. Last one here. Trim. Check mark. Let's go back to our 3D. And so now we can see much better looking. So now the next part is going to be how do I get it to attach to the angle. So I'm going to go back to level 2 here. I'm going to go create a new soffit. And this one I need to pick lines. And so I need the center of the peak. Right now I don't really know where it's at because I can't see the roof. But you can see if I were to go with the wall here, the midpoint, obviously the middle of the wall is where the peak is going to be. I could also adjust my view range over here if I didn't have this selected. But for now, I'm just going to go with this. I need to go all the way to the end here where it intersects. Come out to the fascia. Come all the way up. I don't need to be able to see the peak on this side because I can just line it up. Check. And let's go see what that looks like. So right now, you can see it's right there. Still the same soffit, which I noticed I did not change the name of. You can do that. If you want to go in here, you can rename. I can change that to my dimension so I know real quick. Now, how do I get it matching that because it's flat? It's a little bit tricky, but what I need to do, I need to go to my edit boundary and I need to pick this wall or this line here, the base. Add defining slope, and then our roof we know is a 912. If you didn't know that, you can go back to your edit roof and see it. So I need to match the slope to a 912. Click my check mark, and it's gone because you can see right there it is now up in the roof. So I'm going to click my fascia, double tap H to hide. Now you can see it a little bit better. Let me select it. And I'm just going to hit right side view so I'm flat on and bump the down key a few times so I can bring it out of the roof to see. You can see now that it's coming down, it's bringing it down level. We'll have to adjust that a little bit to get it lined up right. So I'm going to reset my hide right here with the sunglasses, reset. So now I can see my fascia again. And now I can see this. And so easiest thing here is just going to be to adjust from here in 3D. Keep it straight, otherwise it's going to go up at an angle. Or just keep bumping the up key until we get it lined up. Bottom. Keep going here. And there we go. And another thing you could do with adjusting that, you can see every time I move it, it changes my height offset. I could also sit here entering different offsets, adjusting it that way. But I'm just going to use my arrow keys to bump. And so we need to fix our boundary. It looks like the center line of the wall is too long. So I'm going to go here. Let's see. One thing I can do if I need to figure it out, just pick a line. Oh, nope, it won't let us do it because it's a soffit. Back to architecture, not available. One thing you can do on some stuff, looks like it doesn't work for soffit, but sometimes when you need to find an intersection, if it'll let you, you could draw a model line just for the sake of drawing an intersecting line and then use that to work with. So we're going to go back to level 2, click and drag, and it's not picking up the roof. Sometimes you'll be able to pick up a roof or a line of something without actually seeing it. Let's see where that put us on our soffit. Really close. Let's go back to our level 2. So now we are going to adjust our view a little bit. We're going to set our top to level 3. See if it lets us pop up. Not yet. Let's set level 2 and level 1. We'll go back to the original. Let's try level 3 here. Level 3 is a little bit better. So we can set our line work. And so what we can do is set our base to 3, set our top to unbounded. Let's see what that does. Not quite. Look up. Still no. So it looks like this is going to be what we work with for our best bet. We're going to edit our boundary. From here, we can kind of eyeball it. Let's see. One thing I can do, so go out of editing it, take that model line, connect the two, and then our center point of that line should, in theory, be the center point of the roof. Line it up that way. Or one thing I could have done here, you can use your lines to align stuff, which is really helpful. So I can use that align dimension tool. Boom. Hit check. Let's go to 3D. And we got it. There we go. So we can see it is there. You can see that model line. We can get rid of those now. Don't need it. All right, so now we have this. So our next issue, as you can see, is this weird gap. What I have found is the easiest way to work with it is actually using a wall. So we're going to go to level 2. We can see this is our little corner that's missing. I'm going to go to a wall. And I need something generic because I'm going to change it. And I don't want it to mess up a wall I'm actually using. So we're going to go to this 4-inch brick. Start with that one. And I'm going to take this wall from there to there. I want it to line up there. And so now we have it going this way. And actually, we're going to need it to go this way to edit profile. So let's delete. Go back to that wall again real quick. We'll just go with our center line, do that. And so now we have it in the spot we want. Let's bring it to the front. But there's a problem is we want to fill this gap. So as I showed you a minute ago, I can go to my edit, change it to 1 foot because we know that was how thick the overhang is. Click OK. And then go to our modify, align. What do you want? Right there. So 3D. So what do we have to work with? Obviously that's not what we want. That's crazy. Easiest thing to get it to line up is take your soffit that is at the level you want. That's the offset. So we're going to copy that. Go to our wall. Our base offset, that's the bottom. That's where we want the bottom to line up. So we're going to hit apply. You can see here it brings us down to our flush. For the top, I can just go here, click and drag and bring it down. I can either do that, bring it down, and then go into my zoom. And I want it to be lined up there. I could leave it like that. I could drag it higher if I want, but it looks like I got it lined up all right. So we're just going to go with that. So it makes it nice and clean, but now we have the problem of these looking different. If we go to, let's just go to our fascia for now. If I go to my edit, you can see right now my fascia material is nothing. So if I were to click the little icon when you're looking at material, go to the top right, and now I can pick a material from my fascia. So if I were to go to pick a brick, click OK, apply, now it has a brick material. So now they look the same, which is good. Obviously we don't want brick. And we can do the same for our soffit here. Go into, well, I'll go into that in a second because it requires a few more steps. We don't want that, obviously. So we're going to start with the fascia. Go back to our material. All of this stuff here is preset in Revit for the most part. I don't think I've adjusted anything. Right now, we're just going to pick something generic because later I can show you how you can change this kind of stuff. Let's go with this white laminate material. Sure, why not? It's a plastic. Fascia is going to be probably metal, but we'll just use that because it's white, or you could use this, a PVC here. For the sake of this, I'm just going to pick that laminate, hit apply, and so now it's white. So firstly, the wall, we'll go to edit, same thing. So the wall right now is brick. I'm going to click the material there. Sorry if I'm going a little fast. Go to my brick material, click that. Go down, find my laminate. Okay. Okay. And apply. Boom. Same material. Obviously, that's not very realistic, but it does work for the sake of what we're wanting to do. So all I need to go do is go to my soffit here, edit. So this is where it gets a little different. It's got my structure material. I can set this and hit OK like the wall. And there you go. But I want to show you something else as well. So if I go back to my edit, and let's say I have a wall and I want to add the material to the outside and keep the inside the same, I could click insert right here and you can see the core boundaries are what's the lining basically. This is what I'm going to see on the outside. And you've got obviously a top and a bottom, so I need to insert two, click all the way up, and then on function, you can click in the top right, change to a finish on both of them. Finish 1 or 2, I don't think it matters. You can pick something. Let's say I want the same thing. And I want this to be metal, sure. Right now, they have no thickness, so it's not going to let me. So what I can do here is, let's make both of these a 1/4 inch. Obviously, it's making that too big because we want a 1/4 inch overall. So I'm going to make this also a 1/4 inch. And hit OK. OK. And it looks the same. Now it's just simply got a center structure to it and two face materials, just like a wall. So that is a way that you can do edits on wall materials or floor finishes. It all applies to the same. So like the floor here, if I were to go to edit type, you can see I've got my preview open so I can see it. It's got an oak flooring finish, plywood sheathing, structure, and nothing below it because you don't need anything below it. I could click on my oak finish, click on this here, and this is where I could either pick something else preset, or let's say I want the properties that this has because I want a wood floor, but I don't want that wood floor. So that's where over here on your appearance tab, I can click this image and it's going to bring me to all the images that Revit already has. Right now you can see none of the pictures are preloaded, but I can see all the names. And so let's say I don't want red oak. I want something else. I can scroll and look for specific woods materials, or I can go up to my finishes here, flooring, and let's see if there's anything in there. Wood. There we go. So let's do a parquet. So if I click that, click OK, this is now your new floor finish. That's pretty ugly. I don't want that. Let's try a wood plank. There you go. Just a basic wood plank. Don't want that one. Let's see. And let's say I don't want either of those. You have some more generic, just floor and some sort of material. So there's some different stains, distresses. Let's go with a walnut and a color. So it's just a walnut flooring. And you can even change your finish. You can use your use. And some of those you could see has bump. That one is just like a generic with no color to it. I could then go put stain on it. And let's go somewhere in the dark color range. I can apply it so you know it's got a white image to it. Let's hide this wall here. You can see the stain does apply to it, so it's got that there. And so that's where I'm going to leave it for now. I know I didn't do much progress on the house itself, but I showed you a bunch of the tools that you're going to use in a lot of different things. Now, obviously, I just did this one spot. You would have to work your way around, which I will do outside of video because you don't need to watch me repeat it all the way around. But I will leave it for there for now. Thank you.